And as I turn, she's on the dashboard. She falls onto the steering wheel. Hi everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I just thought I would sit down, play with some new products that I got. I actually bought a few new products because my principal gave me a gift card for Christmas and I hadn't spent it yet. So I got a couple of things and I was actually really excited to be able to get some new things. So some products are going to be old, some products I'm trying to get rid of, and I have a couple of new things. Some of them that I got in either my Beautylish Lucky Bag or my Ipsy, Icon Box. And I have a story time to share with you because, as the title says, you can't make this stuff up. The first thing I'm going to do is my lips are really dry. I'm using the Laneige, I forget which one this is. It's the one that comes in the pot like this and has this little applicator that sticks into the cap. I don't like the applicator, personally speaking, but I'm going to use it today. It's not bendy enough and yet too bendy in certain spots. I don't know. But it's so cute that, you're not going to lose it because it clicks right into here. I know so many of you are interested to hear what I prayed for and what I am grateful for that actually happened. It's two stories combined. I know I'm talking a lot. Let me just shut up, get into the products. The things that I got with the gift card from Sephora was the Pat McGrath Under Eye Powder, which was recommended to me so many times. The Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation. And this one was so shocking to me because I did not expect it to be this small. This is the Danessa Myricks Vision Cream Cover. It's supposed to be both a foundation and a concealer. Now, I had gotten 2 samples of this in something or another. Well, 1 sample of this, 1 sample of this. And I kind of liked them both. And because I had the gift card, I was like, you know what, let me just try them both. But this is only 0.34 ounces. It is the size of a concealer, but they say that you can use it as a foundation. And I was like, well, you're going to go through that pretty quickly because foundations are typically 1 ounce. I have my moisturizer on, and I think my under eyes should be okay. It's my worst area. I want to use the Beauty Bakery, the butter primer. I mean, the cuteness of this. It looks like an actual butter thing. It even has the markings on it. It's pretty easy to apply. And it just pilled up on me. This hasn't happened before. Maybe I haven't tried it with this particular moisturizer. So you know what? I'm actually going to get a different primer. Okay, so I got myself another primer, and I also added, hold that thought, I have a little baby pot of La Mer that I got as a sample. I actually have 2 of them, and I've been kind of using it exclusively so that I can see if it really works. I also had a little baby sample of the Hourglass primer. This little puppy comes in a glass thingy, which I think is amazing. Let's see if this primer does any better. I also like the little spatula. It's kind of cute. This is much better, not pilling up. Okie dokes, now where am I? I'm trying to decide which one I want to use. Today, I think I want to use the Danessa Myricks. I have mine in the color N03. Now, I have to tell you, I have really developed a preference for makeup sponges. This, for example, is a beauty blender. Would you believe that this one was dark blue when I got it, and it fades exceedingly quickly? Beauty blenders are a very porous sponge. For me, I find that they don't work as well. I unfortunately don't know what this is, but this is a less porous sponge and it almost feels more silicone-y. My favorite 2 sponges are one that is like got that kind of hourglass shape, which unfortunately I do not know what brand it is. And of course the Real Techniques, that big one that's supposed to be for your body. I am not going to use a under eye tint because I want to see how this works. It's a very cute little bottle, and it does have a pump, which is nice. Let's see. I think I went by the samples that I received as far as the color goes. That's the color. It's really not running down my hand much. Okay, so let me start with a couple of stories here. Yeah, I think the color will be good. The first, so obviously you know I moved if you are following my channel at all. I am getting settled into my new place very nicely. And yeah, so far this is really quite as amazing as I thought the sample was. So I took the cats by myself. All 5 of them I had piled into my car. I have some hard cases and some soft cases, and I have a few different sizes. So of course I put the 2 tubbies, which are Miss Winnie and Tuxedo, into the big ones, and I had Pepper Cat, who was also large but not as tubby, into a medium-sized one, and then Baby Nugs and Princess are tiny, so I put them in the soft carriers. Well, that was a mistake. Number 1, I'm going to put this under my eyes and see how it works as a concealer, because I don't know if I've done that as of yet. Well, so far it's not kicking up over here, which is an issue that I always have. You know what, let me bring you in a little bit. Okay, that's a little better, because I want you to see what's going on over here aside from me telling the story. So again, I've mentioned it many times, it's about a 30-minute drive or so from where I was. And it was a chorus of meows in the car. I couldn't tell, well, I kind of know their meows, but they were all meowing at the same time, I couldn't tell. As I'm getting close, I'm on not a highway, but like almost a parkway, so you're doing like 35 miles an hour, 40. All of a sudden, I see a cat behind me out of the carrier. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I see that it's Miss Kitten. Now I'm trying to concentrate on driving. At first application, as I said, this stuff is freaking amazing. It's the only Danessa Myricks complexion product that I have. Okay, it's not as smooth here as I want it to be. Let's see if this works. I just have to like really blend it. So I'm like, okay, I'm not that far from the place. Hopefully she behaves. Well, she climbs over into the front seat, and I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. She climbs onto the dashboard, and now I'm freaking out. This roadway, there's nowhere to pull over. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? So now I have to get off the exit that I need to get to. Wow, you don't really need that much of this. And as I turn, she's on the dashboard. She falls onto the steering wheel, and I'm trying to turn, and I turn the wheel, and she gets caught, and I squish her. And now I'm like, I burst into tears. I'm like, so I stop the car. Now I'm over the yellow line, halfway into oncoming traffic. Thank goodness it was not busy. There was a car behind me that luckily stopped, and I kind of had to scoop her out and over. And now I'm trying to hold her, and she's being squirmy, and I'm trying to get to my apartment. And I have the person behind me like honking their horn like crazy. Do you see how my brain works? I wanted to try the In Beauty face glaze, the bronze. This always happens. I'm really not surprised. I also have to try the Nia Blend Concealer from Toyco. I've used it a couple of times. I'm not sure about it. Mainly because of the color. I think if it was lighter and more neutral, it would probably work better. So I safely get into the driveway, and like I just break down because it had been such a stressful day, and like she could have gotten really, really hurt. I could have crashed my car, and you know, I just like completely, as I said, break down. So I was able to get her back into the carrier, and luckily she got like a little bruise right above her eye, and I felt so bad. So that's that story. Wait till I get into the other story. First, I need to powder my face, and I'm going to use the ABH Translucent Loose Setting Powder. I am almost done with this, and it's thrilling me, and I just realized my ring light isn't on. Well, isn't that a whole heck of a lot better? I'm just going to come closer so you can see how the foundation is sitting on my face. I think it looks really, really good. So yeah, I'm very excited to have finished up a product, or will be finishing up a product. I'm using the Manny MUA Fluffy Brush, which is also really, really nice. Let me not get powder on my shirt like I did the last time. That was super funny. The day I moved, I don't know if you've seen that video. I'm going to try to link it above. I was putting on my makeup in the morning, and you can see like the powder fluff out and like land. I think I was wearing the same shirt. Land on my shirt, and I didn't notice it until later. That was comical. So, you know, I've been through a lot. You know this. I'm not going to get into that, but I posted on my community tab that I was really grateful God answers prayers, and oh does he. So if you've moved, you know how expensive moving is, and I literally have nothing left. For my bronzer, I'm using this Estee Lauder Bronze Goddess that I probably got over a year ago, no more than a year ago at TJ Maxx. So when was it? I think Tuesday morning I go to get in my car, and the car won't start. It's doing that clicky clicky. Now when it does that clicky clicky, it usually means that you need a battery. That's what I thought. Anyway, I called Hyundai emergency roadside assistance, because that's what came with my car when I bought it. Well, guess what? I was 2 months out of it expiring. 2 months. And my light goes out again. Whatever, I'm going to try to do it without. So they had to set me up with like the one-time assistance. All I needed was a jump, right? $75 to get a jump. I was like, okay. And so what I had in mind was, all right, this should last me just, you know, a couple of days. Maybe I'll even go get like a jumper pack for myself, whatever. But now I had to work at my other job, so I didn't have time to go and either get a new battery and or get a jump start. So I had planned on doing it on Friday. So it lasted Wednesday. Wednesday was okay. Thursday, I go to lunch, and I had gone to a gas station to get myself just a little snack or something, and I get back in my car, and my car doesn't start. And so I had to call someone from work, and luckily a really nice security guard came to jumpstart my car. So I was like, okay, I can make it to Friday. I know I can make it. So Friday, I drive over to a Mavis, and I tell them I just need a battery. And they tell me, well, it's going to be about an hour. So I'm like, fine. It's a Friday night, though. I'm exhausted. I left work just a little bit early so I could get there just, you know, just in time, just to make sure. I haven't used my Hourglass blush in a while, and it is in Dim Infusion. It's very light, but I think I like it. I'm also using a Real Techniques brush here. So I'm there maybe about 20 minutes, and the guy comes out and he says, so it's not the battery. I'm like, oh, goodness gracious, it's the alternator, isn't it? He ran the diagnostic, and yeah, you're going to need an alternator. I'm like, and he tells me, well, it's going to be about $1,700, but I can give you a break and charge you $1,500. It's like, I don't have $1,500. I don't even have a credit card to put $1,500 on. So again, about ready to burst into tears. Yeah, I really like this blush because it's not overpowering, and it's just kind of soft and subtle. Anyway, I was like, look, can it get me if I go get a jumper? How long is this going to last me? And am I going to be able to get by until I can find $1,500? He was like, I can't promise you that, but yeah, you can do that. I said, well, where is the nearest place? And he said, there's an AutoZone about 2 miles away. I do have a highlighter that I don't want to forget to use. This I got in my Beautylish bag. It is the Natasha Denona Pastel Plexi Glow Hider. Last time, I don't know what I called it. Beautiful packaging as usual. And this is supposed to be like a trichrome whatever. To me, it looks pretty on the cheeks, but people like flipping out. It wasn't what they said, whatever. Okay, my under eyes are looking a little dry, but I would say no more dry than usual. So My GPS was taking me on one of the highways, and because I was so stressed out, I accidentally missed the turn to get on the highway, so I wound up taking the side roads. Again, the side roads, you're doing between 20 and 30 miles an hour. I'm just going to say this was one of the blessings. You know how things happen for a reason? Well, there was a reason. I got the Dominique's Cosmetics Essential palette in my icon box. This is the color story. She's got all of the neutrals, or I think the essential colors on the bottom, and then all of the shimmers on the top. I'm going to use Positivity all over my lid and up to my brow bone. So now I'm on that road, and all of a sudden my screen, my GPS goes off. And I'm like, well, okay, that's a little bit weird, right? And then all of my lights start blinking again. I'm going to, I don't know if I can get it up because it's on my phone. I have a video clip that I filmed of everything blinking. It looked like it was like had a poltergeist. I want to use Compassion kind of as a transition. And so I'm like, okay, I need to get to AutoZone quickly. Now, because my GPS went off, I had no idea where I was going. And then, thank goodness, it was coming up to a light. And so I was slowing down. My car, everything blinks and shuts off. The car completely shuts off. I can't steer, I can't do anything. And again, a godsend. I had angels on my shoulder. I had pulled up right next to a shopping plaza, and the driveway was on an incline. I couldn't steer because there was no power steering left, and I was able to glide myself into the parking lot. And granted, I wasn't in a spot, but there it was. I was there. Now it's like 4:30. Okay, I need to call for a tow. Now remember, I hadn't gotten the chance to sign up for any roadside assistance like with AAA or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I need to not only call for a tow, but I need to get myself a rental car. So again, I get on the phone with Hyundai. I need emergency roadside assistance. So they take my information, they take my credit card, and they tell me, well, it was $150, and they asked me where I was going to have it towed to. Now remember, I don't even know how long the service at the dealership is going to be. Okay, we're going to take it to the Hyundai dealership, which is really not that far from where I was. Thank goodness, because it's like, I don't know, $3 a mile or something like that on top of the $150 tow. By the way, I already signed up now with roadside assistance through my insurance company. I'm using a Mamu, which is a, I don't know, pinky kind of color. So what I wound up doing first was calling the dealership to make sure that I could drop my car off there. I thought that an alternator would be covered because I only have 55,000 miles on my car, and my car is 6 years old. Now the person on the phone told me, okay, it's 60,000 miles, so you're still covered. Okay. So I started to panic less, but I told him, that I was stuck, and I called a tow truck, and he was like, okay, you can drop it off here. He said, but, it's going to be a week, and actually the first opening we have is March 12th. March 12th. Now, rental cars are expensive. So I broke down. I'm crying on the phone with this poor serviceman. He tells me, well, I'm going to try to get you in an emergency situation. And he said, but it would still be about a week. There's not much I can do about that. I was like, okay, it's the best I can do. He said, by the time you get here, the service is going to be closed, but tow truck drivers know that they just do a drop-off and then they have a key drop-off. So I was like, fine. Now remember, when I called for the tow, she said 180 minutes. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. And I was like, fine, that will give me time to go over to the rental place, get my rental car, drive back to the parking lot where I was. My goodness, it sounds like there's an elephant above me. So that was my plan, right? Do you know they always say that the best laid plans don't always go the way you want them to? So initially I called the Enterprise rental location directly, and it rang and rang and rang and rang and rang and nobody picked up. I'll tell you that story in a minute. So it connected me to like the 800 number where, you have to give them all of the information. I forgot that it's not like they don't know what state I'm in. He was like, ma'am, what state are you in? I'm like, oh, New York, okay. And I'm going to run that same color enamel on my lower lash line. So I didn't realize how long it was going to take as far as the process goes for me to sign up for my rental car. And it takes even longer once you get there. It's like, why did I spend 20 minutes on the phone with the 800 number for me to just go through the process again when I get there? So now it's closer to 5 o'clock. He tells me the nearest rental place closes at 5:30. Okay, now I need to get over to the rental place. So I call an Uber. The Uber says it's like 14 minutes away. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me at this point? And I'm going to take the purpley color called Grateful. Okay, this you have to build up. It's a little bit more like a topper, but as you can see, as I layer it on, it is definitely building up. So now, like, I'm in front of a Staples, and like, I'm just like all out bowling in front of the Staples. People are walking by me going, nobody stopped and said if I was okay or anything, but people are just looking at me, having a complete mental breakdown at a Staples. They must have thought, wow, maybe her prints didn't come out the way she wanted them to. So I'm literally pacing back and forth, waiting for this Uber driver to get here. It seemed like it was hours and it was only 14 minutes, but it definitely felt much longer. I still thought I had plenty of time. Wrong again. I get into the Uber and I'm hysterical crying and she's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, she's like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. It was like, it's okay. But she reaches into her glove box and hands me some Kleenex. I'm also going to use Pretty Kind and just tap that with my finger. Now, we're talking about Friday night on the way home traffic. That mile or so to the rental place, I couldn't believe how long it took. And I'm looking at my watch, and it's like 5:15, 5:16, 5:17. I'm going, if I don't get there in time, what am I going to do? Well, that's pretty. I want to use the Give Beauty liner that I got in, again, my icon box. 5:27 is when I get to the Enterprise dealership, whatever it is. I go rushing in. Well, that's nice. You know what? I was going to use my Nabla, but I already know how that works. Let me try this on my waterline, but I'm going to go off camera and do that. Okay, that went on pretty nicely. It's very smooth. Now, when I first reserved the rental, I told him the cheapest thing you have. He was like, oh, do you want us to review? I was like, no, just whatever little cheap thing you've got. So I get in there, and there's 3 people ahead of me, and I'm going, I'm throwing my hands up in the air. I'm still crying, by the way, which is just an absurdity. I like it. I will tell you that. Oh, and I'm going to forget to use my highlighter unless I put it on now. So now, by the way, by the time they get my car ready and I get in my car, as I said, it's 6:30. Again, I can't remember if I've mentioned things or not. It's 6:30. I'm just about to put into my phone, since the car that I'm renting or whatever it is doesn't have GPS, I'm trying to put into my phone where the shopping center is. I don't remember where I was. I didn't bother to look at the address of where I was. Again, I start crying. This is really, really pretty. It's a little blingy, but it's not making anything textured, so I like it. And I'm going to put a little up here as well. While I'm sitting there on the phone trying to find the location, I wound up Googling Staples and trying to see which was the closest to me. Thank goodness there wasn't a bunch of them. So I found it, and then my phone rings, and it's not a number I recognize, but it's a local number, so I pick it up. It's the tow truck man. I have a little baby sample of the Smashbox Super Fan Mascara, and this is the Estee Lauder Black Eyelash Primer. There, I got the words out. I want to use this one up. I normally like white. I do really, really like the curved wand though, because it hugs your lashes. It's like, hey, this is your tow truck driver. I'm here. Where are you? Are you with the car? I was like, I just picked up my rental car. I'll be there in 5 minutes. He goes, well, you have 3 minutes because I'm busy. Like, God give me patience. Now, it was like a 5-minute drive, but I'm in such a panic that I keep missing turns. I'm speeding like a lunatic, which I don't ever suggest doing. Oh, I forgot to do my brows. I got to do them too, obviously. So he's really like rude, nasty. Maybe he's had a bad day. I don't know, but you know. So I rush over there. I pull in. I'm like panicking. I jump out of the car, run up to his window. I was like, I'm here. I was like, just give me a few minutes to clean out my car. He said, you have as long as it takes for me to set it up for it to be towed. Are you kidding me? So literally, he gets out of the truck, he backs it up, he's just getting the chains ready and everything, and I run to my car. What do I grab? So I basically grabbed nothing. I left my garage door opener, I left my Easy Pass, I left my handicap placard, and I left one more thing in there, which, because he didn't give me enough time, my boss had bought me some food, penne vodka, and a couple of slices of pizza to take home for the weekend. Well, in the panic, I forgot them. Yeah, I forgot them. Now, all I can say is I'm grateful for winter sometimes, and I'm sure you can guess why. So he, drives away with my car, and I'm sitting there in the rental car, I'm going, I forgot the food! And I just start crying again. Because now that panic is over, now I don't remember how to get home yet. I'm really not used to the route yet. So again, I have to put it in my phone. Luckily, I know my address, which, yeah, that would be bad, right? Oh, I forgot to tell you. The rental car was $700, and I forgot how many cents. $700 for a week for the rental car. Okay? Remember, I don't have a credit card. All I can say is, luckily, I had just gotten paid. But I didn't pay my bills yet, but I had just gotten paid. So I got this Danessa Myricks Groundworks Defining Neutrals palette in my Beautylish Lucky Bag. I can tell you that I've been struggling with how to use it. First of all, it has the absolute worst chemical smell. Now, it's got some nice colors and some bases, but, they say you can use it for your eyebrows and everything. I've used a couple of the colors as like a cream base for some eyeshadows, and that's been nice, but I'm not reaching for it the way I think it should. I have 2 eyebrow things. I don't know which one I'm going to use. As I'm driving home, I start to really, really go into panic mode because I'm like, how do I get the $1,500? How do I do this? Here's the thing with this palette. I can't find, even with mixing, a really good color for my brows. I'm going to take Sculpted. I can barely see these names even with my glasses on. I'm taking the cream, and I want to see on my hand. See, that's a little bit warm. What if I mix it with this cool toned one, which unfortunately I cannot see the color, the name rather. Okay, that is a better cool toned color, but it's a little bit light, so I'm going to try mixing them. Again, these are the cream colors. The only thing, it makes like these slice marks in there. It's kind of funny. So I come home and you think like, okay, the worst is over for now, but no. I'm a ruminator. I'm thinking about every possible scenario that I can go wrong. I'm thinking like, okay, what else can I pawn? What else can I sell? What else can I do? Okay, I have to say this combination is working nicely. So now obviously it was at night. The Hyundai dealership was closed, so I knew that I wouldn't hear from them until Saturday, which of course they would be open on a Saturday. So I get a call mid-Saturday morning, and I speak to a different person, and I'm pretty sure it needs an alternator. At least that's what Mavis told me. He goes, well, honestly, I can't tell you anything until we get it on the diagnostic machine. And then he goes, just the diagnostic alone is $300. What am I to do at this point? I don't have many choices, right? Okay, so like I'm saying, this doesn't work. I can't make it work for me, and I think it worked pretty well. I want to use this Beauty for Certain. We got a lip oil in one of my things. It's looking a little bit dry. Great scent, feels really, really comfortable. So again, he tells me, you know, it could definitely be a week. I can't tell. I was like, sir, I'm about to get on my hands and knees and beg you to make this happen quicker. Again, I start getting all teary-eyed. I think I cried 3 days more than I've cried in a while. Now that that's dry a little bit, I want to use my Ciate London, the watermelon setting spray. I wanted to see if it made it like a little bit, you know, less powdery. I just realized I'm going to have finished my makeup before I finish my story. And you know, that's okay, because it'll still be an interesting story. I'm also using my Sigma lip cream. It's in a color. Of course, I can't read the color. So he says he's going to see what he can do. They're going to try to run the diagnostic that day. So I obviously didn't hear from him Sunday, and then I hadn't heard from him most of the day Monday, so later in the day before they closed, I guess it was sometime in the afternoon. This is a really pretty color. I wind up having to blot it or else it gets on my teeth. So this is the finished look, but I'm going to put this down here. We're going to finish the story. And actually makes it a lot easier to tell the story because I'm not doing my makeup at the time. So again, begging, pleading, you know, trying to do everything I can. So I call Monday afternoon and I spoke to somebody who said, okay, I'll have somebody get back to you because I don't know the details. I said, okay, that's fine. Monday goes by and I don't hear anything. Okay, still panicking, still having my little panic attacks. Finally, Tuesday mid-morning or so, I get a call, and I think it was the first person that I spoke to when I initially called, because he was like the case manager, and he said, so we ran the diagnostic, and get this one, it's not your alternator, you just need a battery. At that moment, I cried again, but not out of nervousness or frustration, out of relief. He goes, who told you it was an alternator? I said, well, I went to Mavis because I thought it was the battery, and they said they ran a diagnostic and told me it was the alternator. And he said, well, we have the Hyundai diagnostic, which is extremely accurate. We plug it in and it tells us everything that's wrong with the car or not. He said, you just need a battery, which makes sense because my battery, that was the original battery. I've never changed it. Batteries have a life of between 3 and 5 years. What are they doing? They're tapping on my ceiling? Okay. Then I get a little bit more of a sticker shock when he tells me how much the battery is. Batteries are over $400, which I was like, well, I'm out of the loop on that one because I had no idea. But it's better than $1,700, or I guarantee from the dealership it would have been over $2,000 for an alternator. So he tells me, and it can probably be ready by tomorrow morning, which would have been Wednesday. And again, I think I heaved a sigh of relief. I don't know how many times. Now, if it was ready on Wednesday, again, I would have saved myself some money because I would be returning my rental car early. So that kind of would have offset the cost of the battery. So I was able to pick up the car again with everything else. It came to almost $500 for the battery with, you know, taxes, etc. And so I get in my car, which is really nice because I have an SUV and I've been driving around a Toyota, which was what I got from Enterprise. And, you know, the first couple of times I got out of the Toyota, I nearly fell out because I'm used to being higher. And the first time when I was back in my car and I got out of it, I nearly fell over because I was now back in an SUV. So basically, at the end of the day, I had spent the initial $75 on the Jumpstart, the $150 for the tow, the $20 or so for the Uber. I don't know why I said Uber that way. Now the rental car wound up coming to $250, so they refunded up to, I'd spend it was $700, but that takes like 3 days for it to get back in your account, which I'll never understand. They take the money right out of your account, but for you to get it back, it takes up to 3 business days. So that's a little sketchy to me. And then the $500 for the battery. Okay, I mean, can I get a break? Can I just get a break? But honestly, when I just posted, God answers prayers, God made me miss getting on the highway. Because can you imagine if my car stopped in the middle of the highway? I would have gotten killed. The car just turned off just like that. So he put me on the side road to put me in a safer place. Obviously, I don't think there was divine intervention, that it was just the battery and not the alternator, but maybe things happened because maybe if I had had the money, I would have gotten it done right at Mavis, and somehow I was able to save myself like $1,500. So that's why I say prayers do get answered. God has a plan. I said I normally don't get religious on my channel, but at some point I have to say, I asked him for help. I prayed for help. I was like, just please get me home safely. Please just make this work. Because I was feeling really badly because I didn't have my family to comfort me or support me, or for me to even call to say, I'm stuck, come get me. Granted, I'm still out a lot of money, but I'm hoping now at least that, things will calm down with my car and it can get me through it a little bit longer. I've been trying to sell my car, but I still have $12,000 to pay off and they only want to give me like $7,000. That doesn't equal anything financially for me. So let me quickly talk about the products now that I've told you that can't make this stuff up story. I do really like the foundation. It's a close up. I can see just a little bit of it settling into my lines, but I really do like the coverage and I really like the way it went underneath my eyes. That's unusual for me. Now I can't wait to try this one as well. I've tried this highlighter before and I've enjoyed it. I've tried this blush before and I still do like it, so I'm going to keep it. I've been enjoying, I didn't use my Pat McGrath. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Okay, I do like this though. The Lightworks palette, I feel a little bit more comfortable now that I found the correct colors for my eyebrows. Maybe I was just a little bit rushed. So I am going to use this palette and I'm going to try again using the different colors for bases. I also said I was going to use that Dominique's Cosmetics black and I could have used this one, but I didn't. I will still always love my Hourglass primer. Next, get ready with me. Maybe when I do this, I'll remember to use this. This is my latest rendition of You Can't Make This Stuff Up. I'm really hoping that I don't have like a part 3 or 4 because I don't want to make these videos. I just want to sit down, play with makeup, tell you what I think about it, have fun, laugh with you guys, and I don't want to tell any more of these stories, but people would think I'm making it up, and you can't make it up. So I do want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. You're all amazingly wonderful, and I'm so incredibly grateful for you. Tell me your horror stories down below. I love you guys, and I will see you soon. Much love. Bye.